Hi everyone. In this video, we'll try to understand how to install and set up n8n locally, right? How to self-host n8n. So you might have seen there is a cloud option also available, but it requires some cost, right? With self-hosting n8n, you can do entire of functionality, like whatever is available over the cloud, you can do it by self-hosting it, right? So let's come how to install n8n locally, right? So their documentation is very good. We'll proceed with node installation. Okay, so they have given a command here, npm install n8n -g. -g stands for global installation. Okay, just copy the command, paste it here, click on enter. Okay, this will be around installing n8n globally. n8n start you can take from here, and this is all about run. After installing, you have to run n8n, right? It will run on your local host. So if you're using a MacBook or if you're using a Windows also, the process is same, the commands are same, there is no change. Okay, I want to install it locally. Okay, so I go to a local folder and I type npm install. I also forgot it, npm install n8n. Doing this, if I do not enter -g, this is installed locally. Okay, there are some errors which are showing some warnings. Yeah, there are some vulnerabilities, but I think it's fine. It has got installed, right? Now if you have installed globally, you have to say n8n start, but since I have installed it locally in a particular folder, I will say npx n8n start. Okay, moment I run this, it is self-hosted, and on this server it is hosted, right? I click on O, my browser opens, and here is my local hosted workflow, right? So right now I don't need any cloud, I don't need to pay any money. I can build any workflow I want through my local host. I can self-host it, I can run it also, right? So that's all about self-hosting. Again, just a short revision, just go through the documentation, install it globally or locally, no difference. Globally is like you can access it through any folder, but I want it in my downloads only, so I've installed it locally. Okay, that's it, just these two lines and your local setup is done. Okay, I already had a login actually, but if you come first time to this site, you will have to enter it using your email. Okay, you will have to log in using your email. So that's it around self-hosting. I think you'll be able to self-host and run it now. Next is, let's try to understand some basic things and some very important things around n8n, right? Basically it's very simple. You need to understand what are the different types of nodes, what node to use when. This is the major part of the n8n actually. If you know this, half of the thing is done, right? Then you need to know how to set up a node, right? What are the things you need to place in the node to have it running. Okay, third is a credentials actually. Credentials, like if you're using some chat gpt node or Gemini node, you need to know key the API key will be required, right? So the API key is credentials, so how to get the credentials, that also you should know. So yeah, you know the nodes and you know how to go around the credentials, you are done. You can build any workflow on your own. Okay, so these are the very important things. We should understand these two first, right? Now what happens in nodes, right? There are only two operations that node can do. One is trigger. Trigger is to get the workflow started or to get the workflow executed. Trigger is there, right? What is action? Action is something around processing or what tasks to do within the workflow, some operations to perform in the workflow actually. That's an action, right? So trigger and action are the only two things that your nodes will do. Okay, now what n8n has done is it has made some node types actually, like core nodes, cluster nodes, or different action and trigger nodes. As per me, it is not important to understand different type of nodes, but I will just brief you. Okay, what are core nodes? Core nodes are, again, is a name. Inside it there will be nodes which will do action or which will be trigger. But why is core node separate, right? Core node is something which does not connect to any external API or anything. It is completely internal, like a if node, a switch node, a code node, right? These are all internal. They don't connect to any external app, right? Those are core nodes. What are cluster nodes? Cluster node is a group of nodes. So there is a main node, which is the root node, and there are other nodes which are the sub nodes. So what does the sub node do? Sub node supports the root node to extend its functionality. They have given an example here. There is an agent which is the root node, and there is this one node. What does this node do? If there is some storage required, the node will remember the story around it, such that it can help the agent, right, with the previous text or previous chats that had happened, right? That's around cluster nodes. So yeah, they have mentioned all the core nodes here. What are the different type of core nodes, right? They have mentioned the different type of action nodes, trigger nodes. They have mentioned different type of cluster nodes. All the nodes are mentioned here, so a brief reading through it will be helpful, right? How to set up the credentials, everything is mentioned in this document. I will attach this in the chat below, so you can read it, right? So that's it. That's around documentation, that's around node, that's around credentials. Let's take a very simple project for now. Okay, create a workflow. This is how your workflow screen will look like. Okay, it's very clear from here. So what do? I add a first step. So first step, think around what should be the first step, right? First step should be a trigger, because the workflow should be executed, right? So we'll see a trigger manually. So here is where you will see all your nodes, what are different type of options available here. I say trigger manually, right? I need another node. What do I need to trigger, right? So click here. I will say hacker news. Hacker news, I need to get many articles. So action is also mentioned here. Now see, now comes the node of setting up the article. So what is the problem statement? Problem statement is I need to get 10 articles around automation from hacker news, right? Resources all. Okay, get many. I'll set limit to 10. I'll say add a field, keyword, I'll say automation. So it will return me only the articles which have the keyword automation, right? I have set it up. Okay, so yeah, and what I can do here is I can change the name. I can say hacker news, right? Or what are the things I can do? I can have a display note in the section. What will the display note get? Hacker news here, right? I mentioned a note also below. So you can see I have changed the name, I have changed this, right? So what do? I execute the workflow now. When I execute the workflow, you can see a table is returned below. I get all the URLs, right? 10 items, limit of 10 items has been reached because we had set the limit to 10. So that's it, guys. Now if you want to get these 10 articles or an email, just set up an email block here, right? Gmail block. You have a Gmail block here. You can see send a email, right? You can set up a Gmail block. The emails will go and you are done, right? Now just imagine if n8n was not there. If n8n was not there, what you will have to do? You will have to get some get API. You will have to fetch the articles. Then you will have to integrate another API to send that email. This would have been a very difficult task, would require engineering, right? Will require some development work. You don't require anything, and just click of a button, I'm able to get the 10 articles I want, right? That's the beauty about n8n. And you can just automate it, like just enter a Gmail here. You can set up a time, like instead of execute manually, you can have a timely execution also, right? So you can set up a morning 8 a.m. this time, 8 a.m. this workflow will run and the email will come to you over the Gmail, right? So that's it, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful to get some basics clear around n8n. Definitely we'll work on a complex problem so that much more nodes are taken care of. Yeah, that's it, guys. Bye.